Welcome to Toxicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged, the place where we talk about all things substance abuse, recovery, and mental health, with guests offering varying perspectives and viewpoints. Hosts Joseph Gordo and Jason Cabello share about their addiction and recovery and other serious subject matter through lighthearted yet candid conversation.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the latest and greatest podcast in the known universe on addiction, recovery, and mental health.
Skateboarding, music.
All those things. And that podcast is called Talksicology. I'm your host. Beep boop. I'm your host, Joseph Gordo. And as always, I have my co-host, or as mostly, I have my co-host, Mr. Jason Cabello.
Pleasure to be here. Long-time listener, first time. No.
Jason is the most beautiful skater in their 40s in all of Central Texas.
That's far from the truth.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Actually, you're the only one I know, so you automatically.
Okay, so by default.
You automatically.
As Homer Simpson said, default, the two greatest words in the English language.
I don't even get that, but okay.
You'll get it on the ride home, and you'll be like, oh! That Homer Simpson.
So I'm just going to go ahead and toot my own horn real quick. I celebrated 15 years sober last Friday.
How'd you do it?
I didn't do much. No, I mean, you know what? I in the beginning, it was like hardcore AA, right? 12 steps. What was that? But you know what? Like, actually, no, I'm going to rewind because there's been a lot of different things that, you know, I've done over the years, like from that to therapy to just different personal growth stuff and whatever. But I think the biggest thing is I finally realized that I was not an expert on anything, and least of all, how to not get high.
Least of all, how to not get high.
Yeah.
Firstly, you need to learn how to not get high. That's
No, but like back then, like I realized that I had no idea
Gotcha.
how to not get high.
So were you, and I'm saying this because this was me.
Yeah.
Captain Recovery for a while? Were you?
Oh, hell yeah.
First year?
Oh,
How
yeah.
long?
I was like, for probably like the first 3 years, I was like a GSR for a group.
Yeah.
I was going to like area meetings to vote on stuff, H&I every night, you know, fit steps, just, you know, spending the whole meeting trying to figure out how I could share the most deepest, profound.
Missing everything that's happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, do I want to go for a laugh, or do I want to go for a tear, or do I want to go for a
Yeah.
I love it when you say stuff, you're like,
Well, in Kerrville, where I sobered up, the highest honor was if you were sharing and people were like, come on.
Yeah, that's a
Like
good
you'd say
one.
something, come on. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah, I always say, like, I'm so glad that I didn't stop growing when I had a year clean and knew everything.
Yeah.
Because, oh, God, I couldn't imagine. Like, I became a tech at the treatment center I went to.
Yeah.
So that was just like, I've arrived.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell everybody
did the
here
same thing.
how to fix themselves.
Yeah.
I know how to fix you.
I did the same thing.
And then when I was doing my my 6th step, I asked Gabby to help me. Like, what do you think some of my like character defects or defaults
You're like,
are?
I can't think of it.
And then she was just like, well, you're not good at taking critiques. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like at that moment, I was like, fuck, I need to dive into this.
Yeah. So real quick.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
15 years.
But since I tooted my horn, you toot your horn.
About?
It's just something. I know you're a guy who's living a full life in recovery. I'm sure you've got something from the past week or two that you are proud of.
Things are picking up. There's a lot of cool stuff happening in Recovery Unplugged and personal. Well, I mean, I guess I could tell now because this isn't going to come out for a while, but I'm going to be doing some tour dates with Kiss, filming some documentary stuff on the road with them.
There you go.
And
huge.
We're starting some new cool things at Recovery Unplugged that more will be revealed on, but just very fitting. And people, maybe even on this podcast today, are it just seems like things are all aligning. And I'm going to do the number one rule in broadcasting and keep them wanting more and just shut up about that for now.
Good job. But why don't we keep the horn tooting going and go ahead and get to our guests.
Speaking of horn tooting,
Speaking of a couple fellas who love tooting horns.
the ska band.
Oh, fucking mozzarella sticks. Today's guests are two of the best guys I know. Guys that I've gotten the privilege to watch so much of their journey from broken individuals to healing individuals to what I think are now fully realized individuals who, have these great lives with people that they love, people that love them. They have a band that my whole family loves, that they love. They're making music. Things are happening for them. And it's directly a result of all the work that they did to quit doing drugs, right? They've done a bunch of other things too besides those things, but I think those are like the coolest ones.
Those are pretty cool.
And so without further ado, I would like to welcome back to the show Mr. Jason Amato, and for the first time, Mr. Richie Wall.
Poof. You just appeared.
Oh, wow.
You guys just magically appeared.
That's what happens?
That's
Yeah.
what we do. Yeah.
We're supposed to go, oh, fuck. like that.
Jason's the drill. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks
I'm
for
so
having us.
happy to
Thank
get
you.
an hour to sit with you guys
Yeah.
and just hang out
Thank you.
Likewise.
without our fucking phones.
Thank you for tooting our horns.
Yeah. Well, now,
Anytime.
but now before we
I
get
mean
really
anytime.
started,
Yeah.
I want you guys to toot your horns. What's
Okay.
something that each one of y'all has done in the last week or two that you're proud of? And it can't be the same thing for both of you.
Ooh.
Okay. You go first.
I was gonna say, you go first. I actually just got back from a trip to Mexico,
Yeah.
which was really cool. I don't know if this is horn tooting, but
I mean, the ability to travel internationally without a supply of drugs is
Right. right?
fucking huge. Yeah.
I think actually to that point, like I've never been to Mexico before, and I was in like Baja, California.
Yeah.
Here's the best thing I can say, I guess. I've never been snorkeling before. Totally took that for granted. I used to when I would think of snorkeling, I would just be like, whatever, it's snorkeling,
Right.
kind of lame. It's not scuba diving,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I got the chance to do it while I was in Mexico. And I was just blown away by doing that. If you've never been snorkeling, I highly recommend it. I think it's just like the biggest thing I can say about it is like the presence that I have today.
Yeah.
That's so different than in the past. And I was just hanging out with like sea turtles and eels. And I was like, what
You're
is
like in
this?
a different world.
Under
now.
the sea.
Dude, it was like the Little Mermaid come to life, So I don't know. I guess that's a win, just being present in
That's
life.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huge.
Hell yeah. Okay.
What you got?
I've
Jeff?
had some time to think about this.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm gonna the obvious because it happened last night, so it's fresh on the mind. Is first ever Nolo sober sessions,
Yes.
the Nolo Recovery Unplugged collab, and it was cool.
It was.
It was
great.
yeah, right. Like on the surface, you can look at it and go, "That was." Can we curse on this?
Yeah.
All right, that was fucking awesome, right?
Yeah.
Like you can look at it like that. But we were talking about this a little bit. Was man, that was like 5-6 years of hard work,
Yeah.
and then like you going from being a client and then going full circle, where it's like, hey, like there's a huge room full of people here, and it felt, I don't know, very what's the word for that?
Surreal.
It was surreal, but yeah, like a full circle moment, and so that was cool.
There was just so much enthusiasm for everything that was going on there yesterday. And, I've been to sober sessions at all of our locations. I've been to Feel Good Fridays at all our locations. I don't think there's one that's necessarily better than the other, just because each one has its own energy. You know, like the Fort Lauderdale one's a little bit different, the Nashville one's a little bit different, but there was, because it's a little bit more compact. It was a tight room. It's a little warm in there.
It's pretty warm in there. I'm not gonna lie.
But the enthusiasm that each person had in the audience when somebody came up, and somebody would be, when you introduce somebody to come up, because if you don't know, if you haven't been to one of our sober sessions, we'll have bands play a couple of sets, and then you have the opportunity for people to come up and I mean, it doesn't have to be a song. It could be reading poetry. It could be whatever you want to do, a comedy skit, whatever. But, mostly music it was. And people were not only incredibly supportive, but completely attentive when people were playing, respectful about everything. And just the amount of people lifting each other up was amazing. It was so cool. And I mean,
we need more of that in this
we
world.
need more of that. And, three of us came through Recovery Unplugged as clients, and now get to give back, get to be on the creative side of how can we help the community. Because that's one thing about Recovery Unplugged I think we all agree on, is that, and this has been said, I know people who work in other treatment centers who are equally successful, but they always say, even if we have clients that went to Recovery Unplugged before, relapsed, came back to our program, they always will say that they're Recovery Unplugged alumni and go to the meetings and stay involved with the event. So there's just something about this place, and that you guys are now part of that, and being able to promote it, build it. I'm so excited about what's gonna happen next, and especially on a national level with all of our different locations and how each one has its own flavor a little bit. This is exciting for Austin.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. I'm super stoked on it. I know we're really stoked on it. Is it cool if I share some stuff that's coming up?
Yeah, share
about it.
Share. It's a free form deal, man.
I just want to share before I got to Austin, I was living in Cleveland, Ohio, and we were talking about this earlier. My experience was going from this existence of being just pacing back and forth and chain smoking in an apartment in Cleveland, Ohio, just completely isolated in my head. I had no real connection in my life at that point. And when I got to Austin and got to Recovery Unplugged, all of a sudden this life kind of started flourishing. I started meeting all these incredible people. I met Jay among them. And I guess, last night was a really good reminder to me of I don't know, community just continually is part of my own healing and medicine, even still in my life today. And seeing that last night, this whole room full of people supporting one another, being present for one another, that's just the coolest shit to me. And it reminds me of my experience when I was a client too, because we went to Sober Jam or Sober Sessions.
It was called Sober Jam back then. It was with the Sims Foundation and Music Cares.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they had it at the Gibson showroom.
Gibson showroom out on South Congress.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It was a big deal back then.
Yeah.
It really was.
It's a big deal now.
It's a big deal now. Yeah.
Well, we're trying. That's the. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Cut me off, dude.
But I think the dream with this is to not only bring it back to what it was, but to even just make it even crazier and bigger than that. Because that's when I look back and if I'm thinking back on my early recovery, that was a staple, especially when I was in treatment.
Me too.
Dude, I was this is the moment.
Yeah.
It was a big deal to go there. And
well, I think for a lot of people, it it nullifies one of the biggest fears when you're getting sober, right? Especially if you're younger, right? Like I know I'm not young anymore, but I was 24 when I got sober, right? And it's just like there's this fear of like, how do I have fun if I can't get high? Because everything was about getting high, right? We're going to the movies, let's smoke a joint. Let's we're going to this, let's have some beers. Like everything's, at least for me, centered around like alcohol and drugs and how they could amplify any experience until the only experience left was getting high, right?
Yeah.
But like getting to go to like out at night to listen to music and enjoy it, like feel it, like maybe have a moment where you tear up because like just whatever lyric or tone just hit you. Like, and to be able to do that sober and like look around and see other sober people and like be like, holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
and like, be able to dress up a little bit, look forward to who you're going to see.
Dude,
Like, seriously. Like,
No, it's like a thing, dude.
No fucking huge.
Shame. Like that was a big deal for me. Like I wanted to go there, and that was when I was getting sober. Like the sobriety piece maybe in the beginning, like wasn't my idea of like what, music was or like what this thing was. But like then to go there and be like, shit, like if this isn't my fucking community, then I don't know what is. Like a bunch of people trying to get sober and in a city that is just full of these, even last night, dude, like these insanely good musicians.
Right.
Or even if you're fucking not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Whether you're a professional or an amateur, like it doesn't matter. But the idea that like, holy shit, like this exists.
Yeah.
And on a pretty large scale, there was nothing more appealing to me than that at like 2 weeks sober.
Yeah.
So there's like, that made me want to stick around.
And
You know what
looking
I mean?
forward to the next one. Like, because when you're in early recovery, time just drags so much because it's a lot of time for reflection, a lot of time to just, you're doing a lot of work, you just gave up your favorite fucking thing in the world, so it's it's a little bit of a time where you're like so having that thing to look forward to. When I was just getting clean in Fort Lauderdale, there was actually a warehouse that we used to have some things at it. It was not like Recovery Unplugged, but it was sort of sanctioned, and they would let the people come from who were in treatment. They would let them go there, and it was like put on a full thing of Axe body spray, go in and have a good time. It was so much fun.
Yeah. And that's something that you don't experience in addiction, right? Because like in addiction, it's almost always dread, right? Yeah. Like, oh man, I'm gonna wake up in the morning, and I'm gonna wake up first, right? But then I'm gonna be dope sick when I wake up, right? And like, oh, I gotta go to work, and how am I gonna get a fix before I get to work? And just, oh, I have to see my parents. How am I going to hold it together around them? Like just dread all the time. So I think having something like to be excited about.
The feeling though that I was just, what Richie just said really hit me when he was talking about pacing in his apartment. That feeling of just, there is no inner peace. There is no patience. It's just like a tiger in a cage. You know what I mean? There's just, and it's a complete numbness. You have the only thing that you're really wanting, or that I wanted when I was doing it, because I would pace. I still pace. I have ADHD, so I pace a lot.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
But when you're doing it because you just can't sit still with yourself, that fucking feeling, man, and the substance, whatever substance you're using, might aid that for a short time. But then once that wears off, you're just back to pacing and trying to. So what was your headspace like when you were in that pacing moment?
Yeah, dread is a really good word for it. But at the time for me, I was actually dry, and I don't know. I'd been in and out of detox so many times that like I was kind of faced with this reality. Like if I started using again, I'd end up back in hospital or a rehab facility. So it was like this crossroads moment for me where I was like, the shit that I'm so used to using to make me feel better is going to land me back in a place that I don't want to be. But also at the time I was like, I didn't want to work a program, or I was like, I don't want to be a part of a recovery community. I was like, that shit's lame.
I just don't want to feel like this.
Yeah.
But I don't want to feel like this.
And you probably, what did you think a recovery community was back then? Like old dudes in a church basement?
Yeah, 100%. Which some of those like were endearing to me in some ways, but honestly, like, I don't know, there was that idea, and just like, I don't know, the idea of, I had this idea in my head that like AA was going to have to be my whole life and my whole existence, and which is, you know, not the case today, but like I just was worried that that was just going to be my life, just a life full of meetings and, you know, church basements and but yeah, I was literally just faced with like this choice of like either I do something, I have to do something, or I'm just kind of ready to disappear because like this sucks. This is every day is just a dread to-do list of fielding, dealing with my parents, trying to convince them that I'm okay, trying to come up with just shit to do, like to feel productive. That was what I was running into, was like the purposelessness. I was like, what am I doing
What's
with
the
my
point
life?
of all this? Yeah.
My to-do list was do all the drugs and then convince everybody that I'm not on drugs.
No drugs.
Yeah.
Those are the
That's
only
the
two
two
things.
things. Yeah.
It's a good song.
Check.
Well, so Richie, I'd love to like have you on again and like really dig into your story and like learn about how all your problems center around being Canadian. But
That's a good point.
That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
My Canadian heritage
It's a burden.
caused me, it is a burden. It's a cross to bear.
oh man, they're gonna revoke your citizenship for
know.
sure. But you know, since we have both of you guys, you know, this is really a huge opportunity to talk about Nolo, which like you guys know, I love Nolo. I love the cover gigs. That's Folo.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
We don't
all the original music, you know,
but-
we even had this whole discussion about how like the re-recorded tracks, I was like, they're okay. But the originals before the re-recording,
That's the good shit.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The DIY.
They're all great.
I like the early work.
I mean, my kids like love Nolo. You know what I mean? So, like, let's talk about that. Like, Jay, like, when do you recall like first? I don't know, like the first fucking spark of what became Nolo happened.
Okay, yeah, it's probably a little different for me too.
Yeah.
because I was the last one.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to. I like those shoes. I've been waiting to tell you.
Thank you.
And then also, my mouth is really dry. And I feel like I'm just making noises into the microphone. I'm just going.
Do you need to wet your whistle?
I got this, and I just keep downing this fucking energy
Tooting
drink. And
horns and wetting ones.
now I'm just shaking over here.
Do you want me to get you water?
Maybe.
I'll get you water. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry. Thanks.
But go ahead.
So the first spark of what was Nolo.
Yeah.
That's cool, dude. I've never got to think about this before. Okay, I can actually pinpoint it pretty well.
Do it.
And it was before there was ever any talk of like playing music together. But I remember, you know, back in the day, it was 5 of us, and there was CJ in the band. And we'd always, the spot to hang out was CJ's apartment. Right. Thank you.
Because everybody else was in sober living.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone else is in sober living. So the first time I ever hung out, I don't know if it was everybody, but I think it was like Drew. I don't know if you were there, but I think it was like Drew and Brett and CJ hanging out. There's this little food truck park, like right pretty much in CJ's backyard, and we're hanging out there. And we're
Going
just
off on first.
it's still there. Is that Cosmic?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cosmic.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of a sick place, honestly.
It's South Congress.
Yeah. And it was, we're getting fucking food at a food truck, and we're just bullshitting, and I'm laughing so hard, and it's Brett that's making me fucking crack up, which he's very good at.
Also Canadian.
Brett,
No.
he pretty much can.
He's from
Actually,
Detroit. He's from
actually,
Detroit.
no. Let's state it for the record, because Brett will love this, and everyone needs to know that he is in fact Canadian.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a
And
dirty
he's
little
very
secret.
he's very proud of it. But
Five Iron Frenzy, his favorite band.
Exactly, dude. He's a huge Five Iron Frenzy guy, and Five Finger Death Punch. But anyway, all right. I'm gonna
Food truck bullshit.
Food truck
Brett's making you
bullshitting.
laugh.
I'm laughing. I'm in the moment. It's like the first time in 6 or 7 months since I've been sober that I'm like, dude, I feel so comfortable around people, and like these are, I can fucking like really become good friends with these people, and it makes sense, and they play music, and that was like, for me, the first memory I have of what, all of our relationship turned into, even before music, but it was like, that was it. And it was pretty obvious for me, at least. I was like, yeah, like these are my boys now. You know what I mean?
So you said Richie probably has a different answer, so I got to hear it.
Yeah. Probably the first memory there's two things that come up for me. Part of it has to do with CJ's apartment. But the first one was, I remember getting out of treatment and I moved into sober living, and
Sahara?
It was actually at Wasson at the time, the Wasson house before.
When the boys had the nice house.
Yeah, when the boys had the nice house.
These are Recovery Unplugged sober living
Yes,
facilities
correct.
that we're talking about.
Wasson is so nice.
That's the nicest house.
But yeah, I remember Brett had just gotten out of treatment before me, and he and I were starting to talk. And this was honestly before Jay. I'm sorry, Jay.
It's fine.
But no, we went out and busked on 6th Street in front of Gold's Gym. It was like 6th and San Jacinto.
Sanjak.
And
You got to call it Sanjak.
Sanjak.
You're long enough.
Yeah, all right, Sanjak.
Get your shit together, Canada boy.
No, come on, I'm Canadian. Forgive me.
All right, buddy. Get it together, pal. Friend.
I bet you call Mopac Loop 1.
I call.
I do.
Wait, how do you say Guadalupe?
Guadalupe.
Is that right? It's Guadalupe.
Yeah.
I always say
How Canadian would you say? Guadalupe?
Guadalupe.
What do you call?
Manchaca?
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to ask it without giving it away.
Manchaca.
Manchac.
But it's Manchac.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah.
Welcome to funny Austin street names. No, so you're busking. You're busking on
Yeah,
sticks
we're
by the Gold's
busking,
Gym,
and, like,
which is the nicest Gold's Gym in town.
It's very nice. It's very nice. But yeah, it was like February. It was actually really cold at this time. But and so Jay wasn't in the band, so like I was kind of the fill-in drummer for the time. But I brought a bucket out, and Drew and Brett had acoustic guitars, and we just hung out on 6th Street all night, just busking. And I don't know. I remember being on 6th Street, and there's like all this music going on at so many different venues. And I remember walking up and down 6th Street, being like, I want to play in these places.
I want to be on one of those tiny little shitty
I wanna do
stages.
some of these
Hell
things.
yeah.
But the only other story I remember too is there was a point where we all moved out of sober living, me, Brett, and Drew. But Jay too. Like we all ended up living in CJ's garage for like I was there for about 2 weeks. Brett and Drew stayed a little bit longer, and then Jay, you were literally living in that garage.
I moved in.
Yeah, Jay moved in.
I made that garage at home. It was beautiful.
But I shit you not, there were like 5 guys living in this hot ass garage for, like a significant.
You could rearrange those words and make something sound really unsavory.
guy.
Well,
Edit that up and let's make it spicier.
You know what that reminds me of? Like when Metallica talks about like when they were living, I think in San Francisco, and they would have bologna on hand sandwiches because they had like no money.
What does that mean, bologna on hand?
They just
No
bought
bread,
packets. They just bought packets of cold cuts, and that's what they ate.
You put the mayo
I don't
on?
know. Maybe.
So
Yeah.
that
Capers.
garage.
Yeah.
So I lived there. This is like a significant part of my early recovery. I lived there maybe like 6 months in that garage.
Yeah.
I was pretty much squatting. Like I was luxuriously living homeless in my friend's garage. And
Go ahead.
but I remember Sorry, do you want to?
No, finish.
Okay. I remember I was getting eaten alive by bugs in there. And I called my sponsor crying. And I was like, I got fleas, man. I don't know. I was like, I got fleas. I fucking hate this. I'm leaving. Like, I'm just going to fucking get out of here. Because that's what I do. When I instead of getting high now, when things get really bad, I'm like, I'm moving to fucking Ecuador and no one's going to see me again. Like, that's my jam.
All the time. Me too. Same.
I fantasize about that. But that was it. That was like a big turning point for me. Just a highlighted memory where I was like, dude, that fucking sucked. And in the moment, I was like, this is inconvenient. But like looking back, it's kind of wild.
But you know what's crazy to me about like those kind of early recovery stories is like, you know, if you're in like fit spiritual condition or whatever you want to call it, right? If you're handling your shit, if you're doing your work, whatever language you want to put on it, right? Like you can be in a situation that sucks and still be like pretty happy and pretty free. And like, you know, when people say that like my worst day sober is better than my best day high, like it's kind of true. Cause I remember being like in a sober house, walking to work on food stamps, like washing cars, you know, with no money, buying like the 99-cent cigarettes and being super just filled. Like you'd think I had won the lottery.
Yeah.
Having so much to look forward to. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Dude, and that was like, I think kind of, you know, it's interesting the idea of fun. Like we definitely, you know, did fun, stupid shit. We still do a lot of fun, stupid shit. But
check out Nolo's TikTok account.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's milder than it used to be.
But you know, I remember just speaking of the bugs, like we had a salt gun that we would shoot each other with in that garage while people were sleeping. Yeah, but no, like, you know, we did lots of fun, stupid shit. But I think that was something that like really excited me is like I went from this place of like I didn't. It's kind of like what you said, Jason. Like my two priorities every day were like, how can I just stay well? And how can I convince everyone around me that I'm okay or that I'm not using? And to go from that to just even having weird challenges to kind of figure out. And again, some of them were stressful, but like just to have shit to figure out, that was like, I don't know, that was a blessing to me, you know, just that. And that kind of became, I don't know, kind of enjoyable. Just actually
the high class problem.
Just, yeah, you know. And I don't know, like not to get too deep into all of it, but it does become fun, like to be able to actually face challenges and feel the fear of shit and like actually be able to walk through that today. Like that's an incredibly rewarding feeling to get to do.
So one of my favorite memories with you guys, I didn't know y'all super well yet, but there was like some recovery thing in Dallas that we all went up to, and it was like a recovery talent show or something like that. And I wrote some fucking song like 2 days before and was like, I'm gonna play this, and y'all came up and y'all played Waning Arcane.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And then afterwards, just for no reason, like we busted out all the guitars, and I think you like put like a towel over your snare, and we did like
in the lobby, right?
It was like in the hallway where all the people were, just like no one gave us permission, it just happened. And we did like a shitload of Weezer covers.
Yeah.
Like just like Weezer for like an hour. Like things were starting to like shut down. Like the event was over.
We were doing the You Just Got Weezered before it ever even happened.
But like, I just remember like, and you guys hadn't been sober that long. Like maybe a year, maybe a little under a year. And just like, I remember looking at you guys and being like, look at how happy these motherfuckers are. Like, in this hallway of this church in Dallas, like they did not expect to do this.
You know what, too? It's like just kind of speaking about like Nolo is, and I think this is another big difference, is there used to be a period of time like when I was using and just when my shit was all out of check, like ego stuff, like there was a period of time where there was this really like sick, like rock star fantasy shit where it's like, I'll never be happy unless I'm successful with music or whatever. And at that moment, I didn't give a shit about that. I was just like, man, I'm just kind of hanging out with my idiot friends, playing music in a hotel lobby. Like, how did I get here? And it was just fun. There was no, I think that's one of the biggest like spark moments of my experience with Nolo is like, it's never really been with this expectation of it being anything other than like, we're just 4 like brothers, like trying to have fun and, and it's cool now though, like things are organically kind of happening and that's really exciting.
You guys are so close. It's like an organism. Like you guys are seriously like, I know you guys could finish each other's sentences and all that stuff. And it's so cool to see that, because that's kind of what everybody's looking for. It's just like to fit in somewhere, to have just a group of friends and to be completely immersed and supportive. So one thing that I would like to touch on, and we don't have to, call anybody out by name, but being in a band where all members are in recovery, right? What happens? A relapse happens.
Sure. Yeah, you show up to their apartment, and you fucking, I don't know, is that too fucking crass to say?
Nah. I say lean into it.
No, yeah, I think, we've been through that. Yeah. And it is terrifying. It was super uncomfortable. There was no idea of, like, what the right thing was to do. But how it played out was we literally just said, okay, like, fuck this, right? Like, this is our best friend. The 4 of us, we're all best friends, right? So, like, this is our best friend at this point.
It was 5 at that point, though, right?
And it was 5, yeah.
Mutual best friendship.
And CJ, still.
Yeah, CJ.
But
former member of the band, but founding member.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's start in, is there like, hey, I think so-and-so might not be okay. Like, how did it all come to light?
How did that fucking happen? Sure. I feel weird talking about this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's also like important to clarify. This was like about like 5 years ago, 4.5, 5 years ago. So
I'm also going to clarify because this is going to be like, and I said it in a weird way where it sounded like it might have been CJ. I just want to let you know, like, it wasn't CJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. CJ is doing extremely well for himself. Has a new baby. He didn't like. I know it does kind of sound like that we're talking about like CJ relapsed.
Yeah.
Now he's not in the band anymore.
Yeah.
Not the case.
Yeah. I
CJ's
just wanted to
doing
clear that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
I can't really remember all of the specifics of it. I mean, you guys were, there was like probably like a show we played where I don't know.
Somebody wasn't looking too hot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it kind of came out over time. I think it was happening for a little while, and then it just became like, okay, here's what's going on, and then it was just like, hey, I'm doing this right now. Like I'm in a bad place. I don't really want help, and that was kind of where it came to where we were like, hey, man, like we're sick of seeing you like this, so we're gonna step in.
Yeah.
And kind of force the situation.
Well, let's talk about relapse more generally because I think family members, loved ones, even like people in recovery, people who work in treatment, right? Yeah. Like it's a question, like how does relapse happen? Like why does it happen? And I think one of the things, it's like, I think Richie mentioned like, oh, it was kind of going on for a period of time. And I think that once people have been sober for a while, you just kind of get used to like they are sober.
Yeah.
And, in retrospect, you look back and you're like, oh, there was this little thing or this little thing. But right, I think you naturally want to think the best of people and you make up stories for like why they looked tired that day or like why they might have smelled a little bit like alcohol or why whatever the hell it may be.
Sure.
Because I think, like when you love somebody who is in recovery, right? Like it's almost like a defense mechanism, right? Where you just want to assume like, oh, they're fine.
Absolutely.
Until it comes out, and then you got to do something about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the question?
I don't know. I was just trying to navigate something.
I know. Yeah.
No, I got you. Yeah, I guess like with relapse, I can only really speak from my own experience, but I just know that for the longest time, as many of us do, I was just like obsessed with the idea of being able to use normally. Like I really, really wanted that to be a part of my life. It had become such a big part of my identity. I was really proud that I was like an EDM rave kind of dude or whatever. Like
when were you an EDM rave?
I was, man. I was like
He was like a big deal.
I was going to like warehouse rave parties in my underwear,
Sober?
No.
Okay.
No.
I don't know.
This was
but I
like,
still-
this
I
was
still
like
do
2
that,
weeks
too.
ago.
Right. That's where he came
Were
back
you like
from.
trading candy and stuff? Like,
Yeah, dude.
oh man,
What?
I can see it actually. Yeah.
But like that became such a big part of my identity, and I just didn't know how to like let go of that version of myself. I was like convinced that had to be a part of my life.
Putting on clothes probably helped.
Yeah. Absolutely. But I think like I don't know, like what's helped me with like sobriety today is I feel like I've had that adventure, that like my addiction adventure. And honestly, there were some fun moments along the way, but there was also like so much terrible shit.
They were
too.
more few and far between than your brain makes you think.
100%. But I think for me today, like I think what's helped me with my sobriety today is it's just knowing that like I've lived that adventure and I've never really lived the being present, sober adventure. And it's like what you touched on earlier with like being able to experience music sober. Or for me, more recently, like the snorkeling, or even last night at sober sessions, like being fully present like that. It's kind of weird to say, but that is like a drug in itself to be fully present
Well,
for
it's all
something.
dopamine and serotonin, man. It's all. So let's talk a little bit more about Nolo and where you guys are at now, right? Because y'all have had many phases, different names.
Yeah.
For the band.
Yeah.
From like garage recording to like now I know you guys are recording in like a legit studio.
Yeah.
So like what's good with Nolo right now?
You know what I'm wearing underneath this?
Richie's rave underwear. Are you wearing a 7th Circuit shirt?
Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Yeah.
But
I was
that-
out of shirts.
Was that the
today.
first name that you guys had with 7th Circuit?
Yeah.
Or-
Yes,
yeah.
that was the OG.
That was
And
the-
no one could ever explain it. Ever.
No.
It was. That's why we changed it.
That was a Brett and Drew, I think, concoction.
Yeah, and now we picked another name that's hard to explain. But sorry, I was
What's
excited
going
to
on
tell
with
you.
Nolo now? Like, what's big with you guys right now?
So yeah, right now, we are currently working at a local studio called Orb Recording Studios. We're like, that's like one of the biggest blessings. Honestly, I never thought something like that could happen. But we have an artist development deal with Orb, and so right now we're currently working on a lot of new music. Getting into the world of social media and growing that out. But we're trying to release music, a new song like every 4 to 6 weeks, and just kind of growing the band that way.
You dropped the last one on my birthday,
Happy birthday,
which I pretended
that was for you.
Like, for
We
me.
did that on purpose.
Yeah,
We
of
did that on
course.
purpose.
But how cool is that? Like, you guys have a development deal. Like somebody with experience, intelligence, resources, and money looked at the 4 of y'all and was like,
And good taste, clearly.
yeah, and good taste. Looked at you guys and was like, I'm going to invest
Yeah.
in these guys' growth. I'm going to pour into these guys. Like, I'm going to take time and money and all these things at my disposal, and I'm going to help these dudes because I see something.
It's surreal. But
I'm gonna take it one step further because you left one thing out that is super cool. Is the three of the guys? So Richie, Brett, and Drew just got a guitar endorsement.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so you all are now sponsored or endorsed by.
Why didn't you get a guitar endorsement, Jason?
Because I don't play guitar. But yeah, I mean, that's just surreal. Dude.
So that's a really good point. So I can shout out CHC Guitars, which is a local Austin outfit. Chris, he makes amazing instruments. But yeah, just a few weeks ago, we met with him and ended up signing a guitar sponsorship endorsement, which is like, what?
That's amazing.
That's crazy to me.
Because, especially like I'm assuming these guys are gearheads, right? Like gearhead guys, like they have some of the most discerning and pointed opinions about musicians that you you can find, right? So like they're judgy,
sure.
And they saw you guys and were like, these are the fucking guys. You know what I mean? Like that's like high praise.
Yeah, it's
no
honest.
offense to gearheads or
No.
any of the fine folks at CHC Guitar.
Did you just wink at
that? It's crazy. Like just to get maybe, I don't know. I think it's sappy. Maybe sappy for a second.
Get sappy.
But it's crazy that there's places out there that have, like you were saying, like met us, built a relationship with us, and they're like, hey, like, we are going to help you with this and support you. Like Recovery Unplugged's one of those places, and now like Orb Recording Studio and Daisy Bone it's very similar, where it's like, why us? And like just the gratitude for just, those are dream opportunities, you know what I mean? I don't know, that it is such a,
like having people believe in you.
It's such a cool feeling, and I don't know how we got here, but it feels awesome.
You believed in yourself first.
You know what it is? Like, you guys truly deserve it, because you guys are fantastic musicians. The talent is incredible, and that's one thing I never lie to somebody about, is their talent, just because I think you're doing them a total disservice. But I mean, you guys...
Jason has never told me that I'm talented.
But no, like, you guys cut your teeth at Recovery Unplugged. You guys do the Feel Good Fridays every week, which is just a place to hone your craft.
Yeah.
To be able to feed off each other, to when now I see you guys play live, and it's just the communication. It's unbelievable. It's like when you see people in the zone like that and you're just there, it seems like you guys are almost like in a meditative state, and it's just like pouring out of you, which is amazing. And you guys are extremely individually like pure intentions on what you're doing when you help people, because me and Jay are really good friends. Me and Richie are really good. The whole band. I'm friends with all you guys. I've, done some music videos with you guys. My girlfriend does your social media, which is, you guys, she's killing it. You guys are killing it. And it's just good things happen when you're doing the right thing. And I think it's just starting for you guys too, which is like the amazing thing. Like, I think now is the time, years from now, when, VH1 comes back and starts doing behind the music again. Like, this is the part where it's going to be like, and then everything changed for the better. This is like where you're on the upswing part.
I can't wait to see if we ever were so honored to be on a VH1 behind the music. I'm excited for the dark montage. When everything was shitty.
Drew drove his car into a lake on that night, right?
He's trying to sleep in the garage, and Brett's standing over him with a salt gun.
Yeah.
Drew was at a party with Motley Crue, and they needed more cocaine, and he took off. No. But so, guys, we're getting towards the end of our time, so we like to close things up with something that we like to call rapid fire question time.
Oh, shit.
Beep, beep, beep.
It's rapid fire question time.
All right, I'm going to start us off with a classic. I'm going to give it to Richie because you've answered this one before. Is Ben and Jerry's comes to you and they say, Richie, we'd like to do a custom, Richie flavor of ice cream. What do you put in the ice cream and what do you call it?
Oh, man. Well, I'm like a huge half-baked fan. There'd have to just be, just make the whole thing cookie dough. Just no ice cream, just a big block.
Well, then
of
that's
dough.
just cookie dough.
You can do that already.
And what do you call it, Richie?
Richie's dough.
No,
That's weird.
I don't know.
So you guys do a lot of cover songs when you play, Feel Good Friday and other things.
Mm-hmm.
What is one song that you never want to play ever again?
I love that
man,
question.
that's a
Okay.
great question. Do you want to go first?
I have to think about it for a sec. Oh, there's rapid
question,
fire
bro.
question.
Smash or All Star by Smash Mouth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hate that song.
You know what's funny though is it's actually a really good record. It's called Astro Lounge. That song sucks though.
Okay.
Might as well be walking on the sun, right? That's on that album?
It's not.
Oh, shit.
Are you good, Jay?
No.
No.
There's a lot of them. It'd probably be like we play Sublime songs so much.
Yeah.
I kind of
yeah.
get sick of those.
Yeah, me too.
Sublime's
maybe
one of my favorite bands of all time, and I'm sick of Sublime.
I love Sublime, but I don't like
What I Got or something.
probably even one of that. So
That song has
dirty
the greatest
secret
guitar
about
solo.
about those couples Sublime. I play the same exact drums for both. For What I Got and
Santeria?
yeah, I play the same exact thing. Have you ever noticed that?
No.
That's amazing. I'm gonna watch for this.
Yeah.
All right. What is y'all's most memorable gig you've played so far?
Ooh, that's good.
We got to play this this event at the Copper Tank on 6th Street last year. That was a really amazing event. There was a lot of people there. It was fun. It was just fun. Actually, honestly, we have a residency. Our cover band Folo has a residency at the Parlor Room on Rainey Street, and we've been shutting down shows with a cover of "Killing in the Name of" by Rage Against the Machine, and consistently people just go crazy when that song gets played.
I've seen it. Y'all did it during. It was during South by when I went and saw y'all at Parlor Room.
That's probably a good one too.
Yeah, it was a banger.
Yeah, last week too, the whole sidewalk was covered with people. So it wasn't even the place itself; it was like spilling out to the street.
And
That
that's
was
one
fun.
thing super cool that I noticed when I saw y'all play there, because like me and my wife had these seats kind of like on sort of a balcony kind of area, and we were facing the street, like the street was right behind y'all, and I was watching like. People are walking by and there's bars up and down the street, and just how consistently people would stop and like watch y'all for a second, take some video, snap a fucking selfie, and then like go on with their day, and like there's a pull there.
Yeah. That shit's fun.
It's your turn, isn't it?
No, I just asked about the most memorable show.
You're right. Okay. Time travel vacation.
Time travel vacation.
Yeah. Any era, any place you get to go and just hang out for a while. Where would you go and what era?
Oh shit. Honestly, for me, it would probably be like 1960s. Take me to Abbey Road. Let me hang out with Paul McCartney for a day.
Okay. That's a good one.
Would you do cocaine with him?
Yeah. I mean, you're going in the past, so it's not going to
So
fuck
it
with
would-
your
it-
recovery.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
there's got to be some kind of. There's got to be some.
There's
kind
like a
of,
relapse clause.
Yeah.
in
There's
there.
a there's a
Yeah,
workaround.
If you're doing time travel, I think it's a little. I don't know. Talk to your sponsor on that one.
I'll talk to
Maybe
the
not.
sponsor. about
We
it.
don't condone time travel cocaine.
No, yeah, we
The big book has no opinion on time.
on
travel.
time travel cocaine.
That's true.
All right, Jay, you?
I love ancient civilization stuff.
We're
That's
going to
my jam.
Mesopotamia?
I might be going to Mesopotamia. No, I don't. Probably Egypt, like ancient Egypt. and I'd be like, hey, like, you know,
Hey, what's up? I'm from the future. I just want to check it out for a
I
while.
just want to check it out, see how the work is going.
Yeah.
What's the progress of
How did you build the pyramid? Why don't we make it a cube instead?
That's it.
Yeah, I would probably fuck with them a little bit and like be like, I don't think we should make this a pyramid.
Yeah.
Maybe
What do
we.
you guys think about like rectangles?
Or a rhombus, maybe.
That you got to talk to the alien
But yeah,
architects about that one.
I'd go check out some real old stuff. That's what I would do.
All right, guys. The last thing we like to do before we wrap things up is give you guys the floor to share your socials, whatever you want to promote, anything like that. This isn't going to air for a minute, so probably not like a gig that's next week or something.
Oh,
But,
dang. Okay.
whatever you guys want to shout out to the audience and any kind of message you want to leave them with before we go bye-bye.
Yeah. Yeah. So our socials are Nolo the Band on Instagram, Facebook. NoloTheBand.com is our
You on
website.
the Truth Social?
What's that?
Truth Social?
Truth Social? I don't know what that means.
He's Canadian.
I'm Canadian. Got to remember this.
It's Trump's social media.
Oh, no, not at all. But yeah, those are our socials. Yeah, just kind of in the scope of this conversation, I want to shout out Orb Recording Studios, Matt Nevesky, Kelsey Flanagan. Again, CHC Guitars for giving a shit about us and sponsoring us. Huge shout out to Recovery Unplugged. I want to just say my closing thing, and I'll shut up. Getting to be a part of sober sessions today is like literally a dream come true for me, and I think for us, because it was literally that was like the same opportunity we got as clients, and I think for me and for us, getting to be a part of providing a space for the community and for clients to come out and, in a safe, supportive space, get to express themselves. Because that was the shit that like got us through the beginning, and beginning to play music again. Yeah, I just want to say that it's like an honor. It's like a full circle honor, and I'm really excited for what's to come with that.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Jay?
I agree with what you said. Just
Did Richie steal all your shit?
You can still steal my shit.
no, I support that too. Shout outs and stuff. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Whatever you want. Closing words.
Closing words. I don't know. Just keeping an eye out. Like if anyone's interested in seeing Nolo, we are a lot busier with our original project now, and like super excited on next steps here. And it's actually like not even next steps, but it's starting to happen.
Yeah.
So there's more shows coming up. There's more music being released. Our newest one is Drive. Did you say that?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
Go for
cool.
it.
Well, our newest one is song is called Drive By, and that came out maybe a couple weeks ago.
What's it on?
It's everywhere, baby. You can go Apple Music, Spotify,
Pandora,
Amazon. I don't know, all the places
All the
you want to
places.
find music. But I don't know. That's a big deal. Like if someone goes and checks out our stuff, and it helps us. You know what I mean? And we're trying to do this full time and make it the only thing we have to do. So that's what I ask, and that's what I want to plug.
I just want to say, like, I'm super proud of you guys. First time I came to Austin for work, like, I didn't know you guys, but I got to see you guys perform, and it made me want to move out here. So, I mean, you guys are part of the reason that I wanted to come to Austin and be a part of this. And now that, like, we're all working together, we're like a family. Like I said, my partner, Gabby Delgado, shout out to Gabby.
Oh, yo, I want to shout out Gabby too. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yo,
yeah,
Gabby is the shit. And yeah, I love Gabby. She's done so much good shit for us.
Brought your social media, like, she knows what she did. She knows what she's doing. Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to be like, I mean, I consider you guys family. I love you guys very much. And like, it's a dream come true. Like for when I came out here from Florida the first time, I was like, this place is super cool. I'd love to come and be part of it. And now look at us now. So it's like, if you have dreams and want to do something, especially if it's all with like good intentions. Like it's all possible, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm super proud to be here with you guys, and you guys are like family to me. So
Yeah.
please come
Likewise.
back anytime.
I wish.
Likewise.
I wanna just rant on that so bad. But I know we're out of time, but just stressing the point of that is like the coolest. One of the coolest things that's come out of this is it's not just Nolo. It's like this family of friends and this huge collaborative effort that's been like the most authentic and organic like growth experience ever, because it's all people that are like really genuinely close to each other, but we're also working together. It's just super cool, and more people keep getting added to the team, and I don't know, I'm just
It's fucking great.
It's just so much bigger than just us,
Yeah.
It's an honor to have this community and family we've gotten to create.
Well, thank you guys again for taking time out of your day, for coming out, for everything that you guys do. In Austin at Recovery Unplugged, for the world in general, right? Like I know I was talking to Drew about how like y'all are getting streams in other countries, so like there's an impact that is just monumental. I'm grateful to have gotten to watch and be a part of in some small way, like you guys doing all this. And it's just so thank you guys for coming on the show. Thank you guys for sharing all your stuff.
Yeah.
And
thanks so much for having us. This is really cool.
And for everybody in Toxicology land, thank you for tuning in, listening, watching, whatever it is that you're doing. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, comment, reviews, all that good stuff helps us. Check out the Empowered shop, because they have all the t-shirts and the Toxicology t-shirts and all that good stuff. And as we like to say here, there's a thousand ways in and a thousand ways out. We hope you find yours.
What he said.